a coach, how do you assess, just in terms of the overall practice to practice, or emphasizing one practice versus another? How do you assess, okay, today was good, yesterday was just okay? How do you put all that together?
Well, I think when you watch it, you kind of come up with an assessment, but we do tape it every day. When you get in the morning as coaches and you watch it, and then you go to meeting and you discuss it, you might come up with a different opinion. Then you might say some guys did a good job and other guys didn't do their job. That's basically the only way you can assess it. You can look out there with the naked eye, but you can't see everybody. You just see certain things. But the good part about the tape, you can run it back and forward, so you can see everybody and see what they do.
Defensive line seemed to get a pretty good pass rush today. I didn't know what all goes into that, but you defense overall, but especially the defensive line pressure.
Well, I think there's two things there. Number one, I think the defense has become a little more aggressive. Also, I don't think we block as well as we would like to, but at the same time, I'm hoping that the defense is playing like that. We've seen each other now for the last 2 weeks, and it's always tough when you're going against your own team. It might not be like that on Saturday, and hopefully it's not. But you do want your defense to do what they did. I see a whole lot of enthusiasm from the defense, and usually that's what you want. You want guys to fly around, and they did that. Even the guys that was on the second unit came in and did some good things. We still got to look at the film and the tape to really see who did what. But I think at the end of the day, we like what we saw.
What do you think of those couple of big hits at the end? It seemed like everyone got fired up on the sidelines.
Well, I think it's good to have big hits and fire you up if you're in control of the football game. A big hit, if you're not in control of the football game, don't mean anything. I think as coaches, we don't get as hype as the players because there's some other things that might go into it. Just before that big hit, he also gave him a big first down, a holding penalty, the same guy who had the big hit. So when you weigh both of them, you figure the first down outweighed the big hit.
How important is to have a kicker on the roster?
It's always important to have a kicker. Kicker is just like your quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, you're in trouble. If you don't got a kicker, you're in big trouble. We were fortunate enough to come up with two guys this year, in Warren and Jonathan, so we feel pretty good about our kicking game.
What are your general thoughts with the running backs? A lot of guys got reps. They're running pretty hard today.
I think, when you talk about the running back, it might be one of the deepest areas for us. We got two young guys that we're trying to start their innings, and Justin Kelly and Jonathan, Noble Johnson. And I think they ran hard. I thought at times Jeremy Runner ran the ball the way he's supposed to run it. And Juwan Martin didn't hurt himself, and Skinner certainly didn't hurt himself. So I think when you look at the running back position, we're in pretty good hands if everybody stays healthy.
How do you sort out?
Talk about Noble a little bit. Obviously, a local kid out of Franklin Parish, out last year. Is he starting to really get back into where he can?
I don't think he's where he wants to be or where we would like for him to be. When you're out a year like that, it takes a little time. But I think what he's done in the last week and a half certainly tells us that there's a possibility that he's going to rev it back up and get back what he was doing when he was in high school.
In terms of the stable of running backs you guys have, how do you sort out, because you have so much depth in the position, how do you sort out who's going to play when, and just that whole process of who gets in the game, who's going to start? How do you sort that out as a coach?
Well, that decision is made by the coaches and I, and we sit down and we talk about how practice goes, and a lot of that has to do with the guys know where they're going. I think Coach Ragsdale has done a tremendous job teaching them. There's not a lot of blown assignments as far as where to go with the football, and they certainly don't like the idea of not running hard, because I think when you watch Kelly, you watch Noble Johnson and all the guys, they don't mind hitting up in there, and that's what we're looking for.
So do you have an idea of who's the leader to be the starter going into the season, or is that something you're going to sort out down
Well, the same guy who came out of spring and started, no doubt in my mind, Juwan Martin going to be the starter. If for an injury between 9 and 2 Saturdays from now, it's going to be him. But at the same time, Skinner going to get a chance to touch the ball, and Runner going to touch the ball, and God, I hope the other two guys get a chance to touch the ball.
Talk about, not a lot of big plays last year, especially in the passing game. You saw Dominique Leach make a nice catch in the corner there, but not a ton today. Are you starting to find some of those guys, or some of those guys surface?
Well, I think what you saw today, we ran the ball a lot. We threw a lot of the intermediate passes, the tight end caught passes, running back caught passes. I think what happens there, you give a lot of guys a chance to make plays. And it's not all about throwing the ball down the field all the time. And when you do, you want success. You also saw a young guy in the 7-on-7 drill, and Chad Williams make the deep catch early on, and we can't wait for Verlin Hunter to get healthy, which he'll be back with us on Tuesday. So we got two young guys gonna give us that outside presence that we didn't have last year. So.
You've hit on a tight end before. I counted 4 tight ends that touched the ball today. Pretty excited just about those intermediate options, George McGee and Donald.
You know what, tight end is kind of, to me at this point, it's kind of like the running back situation. You know, with Birdsong, with Hedgeman, and Chris Brazil coming in now, and we got Josh Martin. I feel pretty good about tight end. You know, when you can go into the season with 3 pretty decent tight ends and 4 or 5 running backs, it kind of gives you some options, and I like the options that we have.
What makes Martin a lead back in your mind?
I think coming out the spring, you know, he's been here, he's a veteran. That's not to say he's going to have it all year, but he's certainly got a chance to keep it if he does the things he needs to do and what we like for him to do. But at the same time, he's not going to play the whole game. We're going to give Skinners, who ran the ball pretty hard last year, the opportunity to run the football. And, you know, coaching is like this. Sometimes you get caught up. If you give it to a guy and he hot, don't take it away from him. Let him run some more.
The defense seemed to tackle pretty well today. Pretty pleased with you talked about the progress overall, but just some of the contact and the tackle.
I think, number one, our defensive play, especially at linebacker, has improved tremendously from last year. Because, number one, we got 3 guys from junior college who got some playing experience. Gave us that boost and that lift that we needed. Those guys have formed a pretty good partnership and has done a tremendous job, and hopefully we can keep them all healthy. Tyler Griffin, who has been coming on late, Butler, who kind of got injured today, and we got another young guy out of Mansfield named R.K.S. Cooper, who we brought up here as a defensive end, and we moved him, number 54, to linebacker, and probably one of the smoothest, fastest linebackers that we've had here in some time.
Evaluate how you think DJ and just the other quarterbacks did in terms of getting rid of the football. I know it's something you stress in the spring.
I won't evaluate until I see the tape.
Okay.
I think, you know, you catch me Monday, Tuesday, and I can give you a better assessment of all the guys.
You said you wanted to add some beef from the junior college transfers, so how do you think that helps your offense and defense up front?
We got 2, Malcolm O'Dear at left guard, and one of the guys, Malo, who did not play today, got a little tweaked shoulder, but I think those 2 guys, along with Cherry and Clint Marsh and Justin Miller, who's a redshirt freshman, got a long ways to go, but has done some tremendous things. I feel pretty good as far as the offensive line athletically and size-wise.
You guys seem to be a little young at the offensive line. How fast will you guys have to grow up?
Well, let me say that when you say young at the offensive line, we young on this football team. We only have 5 seniors on the whole football team. So we're a young football team overall. We don't have time to grow up. You know, they need to go to sleep and eat their Wheaties and come back and play. They need to be grown up at this point.
Being such a young football team like you say, would you say any type of expectations you might have for the season, upcoming season, or maybe put a number down that you be happy with?
Well, we started practice on August 1 with 1 goal in mind. And that's to play the championship game, and I'm sure everybody else look at it from the same standpoint. So that's the only goal we have. That's what we're shooting for, and you take them one at a time, and that's the only way you can deal with it.
You mentioned August 1st, and the first thing that a lot of people said when they came out here was this year you look like a Grambling football team. Talk about this.
Oh, you know what? You know, I can talk about it, but I don't want nobody to say I was talking about somebody else. And I think sometimes you just got to do what you do. I tell people all the time, when I got here a couple of years ago, it's kind of like if you marry a young lady who got 2 kids, them your kids. So I married Grambling a couple of years ago, so everybody was here with mine. But I think now most of these guys here are certainly mine, and you feel pretty good about the guys that we brought in. I think we've gotten extremely athletic overall. And I think when you're talking about playing this game, you got to have some athletes. So I feel pretty good where we are there.